it's Keith with BobsCNC. As always, here with my best friend Bob.
And I'm here with my best friend Keith.
And in Shop Talk today, what we want to talk about is, well, we want to encourage people.
Okay.
To, if you have an original E series CNC router, whether it's a 3 or a 4, we really want you to seize the opportunity to get an upgrade kit, because it is the least expensive way that you can end up with a brand new Evolution series router.
Right.
And the reason we want to do that is because we have made a number of improvements going from the E series to the Evolution series.
Yeah, so the E series was one of our first models, and it was meant to be the least expensive to get you into the market.
Yep.
But as we started selling them, we had customers that said, hey, it'd be cool if you did this, it'd be cool if you did that, here's what I see. And so we took that, and that's how we actually came up with the Evolved or the Evolution series, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So the E series was our first machine, and let's just go through some of the changes that we made.
Okay, and then you can explain it.
Okay.
One of the things that we got a lot of requests to make an adaptation or a change to was on the Z-axis, because we were using a simple threaded rod and that long bolt, and and we went to an Acme rod.
Yeah, so that's right here is, you'll see that it's an Acme rod, and then later.
What's the difference?
Well, an Acme is really designed to give you linear motions. You'll see them on like a jack for your car, the older jacks, before you came up with the hydraulics. But the screw design itself is meant for linear motion. So it's more expensive, but it gives you a more precise and a more efficient thread profile. So the other one on the E series was really a bolted bearing to a screw that we put a nut on. And this one was actually...
It was just a threaded rod.
Yeah, a threaded rod, yeah. So this will give you a faster Z, and also a more precise and efficient Z. And if you have an E series or are familiar with the history of E series, it also had a wobble if you didn't put the two nuts on so that the screw was perpendicular.
Yeah.
So on this Acme nut, we actually turned the top so it's smooth, and just press the bearing on there, and then we have a locking collar. So we got rid of our famous wobble.
Well, it's not just ours. A lot of companies have wrestled with that Z-wobble. And then also another thing that we got a request for, and it dealt with the issue of backlash.
Right, so on our very first, if you have one of our, I want to say antiques, but it's not old enough, we actually use brass nuts, right, for wear, and then we use rubber padding so that you could adjust those nuts to get rid of all the backlash.
Right.
It worked really well. However, it was really hard to adjust for people that were just learning how these things work.
Yeah.
So we exchanged that later on in the E series for just a long coupler nut. So the idea would be is if you had enough thread length that you would get rid of most of your backlash and still be able to turn. Well, with the Evolution series, we went with the Acme nut, right, with our Acme screw, and because it's more efficient way of doing things, and the nylon, or I'm sorry, acetal screw has a slippery surface, then we could keep the backlash down and still keep the faster Z.
Now this is your favorite then.
Okay, it's my favorite?
Yeah, because I hear about it all the time.
What's my favorite?
You're talking about eccentric.
Okay, yeah, for sure, especially if you're in the market looking for an older E series. What happened, and I can tell you on the side what side it's going to be on, but it'll be on one side or the other. You had slotted holes to tighten up these bearings, right? And so if you use the machine too hard and those loosened up, then this would get loose and you couldn't CNC very well. So what we did is we had some eccentric spacers made, and now you can actually adjust those bearings so that they squeeze in onto the rails, so you can get rid of any looseness in the system. And that's true for the Y. They're on the bottom to tighten this down, and then they're also on the sides here. So what it in effect made it a lot less maintenance and a stronger setup so that you can cut deeper and faster with the Evolution series than you could with the E series.
Now you can't see it here because this is the Evolution series, but one of the changes you made was in the way the gantry was designed. You increased the torsion in this box, or torsion control.
Stiffness.
Yeah.
In it,
How did you do that?
Well, it's really the box beam is a lot wider now, and the other one, the pieces would fit on the side and didn't have as much structure here. So really, we did some finite element analysis in engineering terms, but we did some engineering analysis to make sure that this gantry not only had the bending stiffness, but also had the torsional stiffness. So again, that allows you to cut faster and deeper than you could with the E series.
And one thing, I like mentioning it all the time, is because we constantly hear, constant's too strong a word, but we hear quite a bit that you can't really depend on a CNC that's made of wooden components.
Right.
And we're going to tell you all day long, since this is going to hold 2 to 4 thousandths of an inch when you're cutting something from your original design. So this is, it's a nice, stiff, it's a great working machine.
Yep.
Now, the other thing that we changed is, you can see it on the front here, you added belt tighteners.
Right, so on our E series, you really pulled the belt tight and then shoved the piece down to lock it in place and then tighten up the screws.
Right.
Right. With this one, we had several customers have 3D printed. I think one of the brands was Gator Bites.
They were great.
Yeah.
Well, they are great.
Yeah, there's some other ones out there that were a little bit fancier, but basically we just took their design ideas and we put it on the machine. So now you can tighten up the belts on the Evolution series. Even the Y actually has some components in here that you can loosen up this screw and then tighten the screw. It'll tighten the belt and then tighten it back down. So we wanted to make it more adjustable or maintenance friendly on the Evolution series.
Another thing that we did is on the E series, when the machine homed, it only homed on one side as the gantry is traveling back. But now on the Evolution series, we made this so you had a self-squaring gantry. So how did that work?
Well, actually, the first thing we did is Sonny is the lead developer of the gerbil firmware, and we were asking him if he could pull that off, and he thought about it for a while. This is the solution that he came up with, which, because we don't have any pins on this microcontroller left over to do what we want to do, we actually share the Z home switch pin and the X2 home switch pin. So what happens is when you home it, these two are independently. If you can hold the machine down tight, I can kind of like show you that it will walk. So it homes this one and this one independently. So if your switches are adjusted correctly, it's self-squaring.
Right.
So as soon as you home the machine, you're set up to have square cuts.
And then one last thing, but I can't show you on this one, because this has an older style scroll board.
Actually, this is the current production for the E3 on the Evolution 4.
Right, on the 4.
And the 5.
You have a
T-slot.
T-slot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fairly recent.
Right. So we'd encourage you to make the update. The only thing you're going to have to save when you do the update, we're going to send you new hardware.
Yep.
We're going to send you new rails.
Yeah. So you're going to need to save your bearings, your stepper motors, and your controller and power supply. So really all the electronics, the DeWalt router on your E-Series will not work.
Yep.
We used to sell these DeWalts for this one, but for quality reasons, this one has really turned out to just be a better router for us.
It runs longer, yeah.
So this is the only one that we can upgrade to right now. It's the one that you're going to want. It's the better router out of the two. So, but yeah, if you're looking to get a machine that'll cut faster and deeper, these are all the things that we did to make this one better than the E-Series. So if you have an older E-Series and you want to upgrade, we have that kit, a conversion kit, and or if you're buying a used one so that you can have the parts, you can do the same thing as well.
Well, guys, if you got any questions about any of the machines we make, or if you have any CNC questions, you can get a hold of us at the help desk at BobsCNC.com. So till next time, we'll see you.
Well, that was pretty serious that we did there.
Yeah.
No goofing off or nothing.
No.
See you next time.